Blessings and Shabbat Shalom today to all of you out there. This is Dr. Kifa Ben Israel. I am excited because this is the day that Yah has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Let us go into the house of Yah. It is truly a blessing to be in the midst of you this morning here on this Sabbath. This is a glorious day in which every day is a glorious day, but this is an even more glorious day because our Afrocentric brothers and sisters are finally waking up to the truth. Talking and speaking the truth and actually knowing the truth and performing truth are different things, because we have a lot of people that say that they are aware of the circumstances and situations that are going on, not only in our nation, in the United States and around the world, but we as a people have started coming together and understanding that there's more to this thing than what we have been told. So a lot of folks have started researching and going to different places to find out what actually is being said and not what they're being told. Isn't that something? Isn't that a blessing? Isn't that something to jump up and down about? Because people are actually going to check things out. Well, I don't know about you, but it makes me feel good in my spirit, man. And it makes me excited and gets me all bubbly inside. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Because we're finally doing the right thing. Uh-huh. Now that doesn't mean that everybody is on board and doing it right away, or that everybody is jumping up and down and making a head case for certain things that are happening. That just means that we are at a beginning. We're at a crossroads. We're at the pinnacle, if you will, of our essence as a people. And when we realize that that is the choice, or that is the way to go, then there is no other alternative than what we have, than to just show people that we ourselves are the people of the Bible. And when we show people that we are the chosen nation of the Bible, and we give biblical facts with that, we stand a chance of winning some people over to the truth. And not only that, but we stand a chance of actually getting an agenda that that likens unto what the Bible says. Okay, y'all hear what I'm saying? Liken unto what the Bible says. And so that's my only approach towards anything, and that's the reason why I refuse not to celebrate the Sabbath. I also refuse to bow to the conformity of man when it comes to that circumstance and situation, because we have already been robbed of our identity. So we don't continue to let people rob us of our identity. We need to continue to show people who we are. And if we continue to show people who we are, then we have no other choice but to be taken seriously. We have no other choice but to be taken seriously. And I am excited that people are starting to wake up. People are actually starting to wake up. And I want to apologize to all my true followers, to people that really, truly follow me with the intention of getting truth and understanding. I want to apologize to you folks, because some things can be misconstrued and can be taken in a very adverse way because of the way society is. We just recently had an attack on the Capitol, which shook everybody. It shook everybody. Congress and Senate, there's no doubt that those people's lives were in danger. And I'm not downplaying that, because that's a very serious thing and a very serious offense. And I think that the appropriate people need to be brought to justice for such a atrocious act of cowardness, and the audacity that these people have actually brought about. Wherever you go on the internet, there's always rumors and lies about who did this, who did that, conspiracy theories, and et cetera, et cetera. But those of us that know better, we already know that this is an attack on not democracy, because I hear people talking about the attack on democracy. But what I see is an attack on stability, an attack on people that are walking in change. Folks fail to realize that the night before all of that happened, two people were elected to the United States Senate from the state of Georgia, being Pastor Raphael Warnock, the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is the same church that was founded by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and then a 33-year-old son of immigrants, Jewish immigrants, and that John Ossoff. So you have a Jew and an Afrocentric man that were elected to the United States Senate in the midst of all the things that have been going on in the circumstance and situation. And all of that has been overshadowed by the attack on the Capitol, which in itself was a tragedy, terrible. And like I said, I believe that people need to that there needs to be arrest. There needs to be people that come to justice. There needs to be no more excuses about what's going on in our political scene, no more excuses about what's happening in our spiritual scene, because I blame the evangelical Christians just as much as I blame the Republican Party and Donald Trump. I blame them just as bad. They've had a hand in all of this stuff from the beginning. I'm one of the very few spiritual leaders that has spoken up about what's going on and how Jesus has been used as the focal point and the center point of all these evil people to further their political agendas. Yeah, I'm gonna say that because we're getting ready to go to the book of Jubilees, but I'm gonna say my piece because I very rarely get an opportunity to even say my piece as far as to rub this in. So I guess you can call this a rubbing in session, because I tried to tell people, I tried to tell the world, I tried to tell the nation, the United States and the world. I tried to tell you guys that these people were no good. I tried to tell you that the Kenneth Copelands of the world and that the all these different white evangelical leaders meant us Afrocentric people no good. The way they prophesied and used witchcraft as a divisive tool to further the agenda of somebody that didn't mind being their poster boy. That was an incredible trickery. They used the Afrocentric culture, and note, people, I use the word Afrocentric because that's an intelligent way of describing our culture. I no longer want to use the terminology Black, because we've been hidden for so long and people are so used to identifying us as Black. We are of a rich culture, a royalty. We come from a generation of kings, priests, and queens. We come from a lineage of success. So we need to treat ourselves as such. And if our white brothers and sisters don't mind celebrating with us, then you're welcome to celebrate with us, but do not try to downplay or even try to revert us into other disdain, because it's time for us to rise up as the kings and queens that we are. And I refuse to have anyone tell me anything obscurely different and try to use fake religion as a ploy to downplay the pride of our heritage and culture. This is what attracts the younger generation. This is what attracts the bound ones of us that are still in mental slavery to a system that has been designed for our destruction. Oh, y'all don't like what I'm saying to you. A system that has been designed for our destruction. There were no free Afrocentric people roaming the Americas when the Constitution was written. There was no free one of us. So when you see one of us that is standing with an agenda, with a proactive agenda that promotes not only our presence, but the activity of power from our people to the world, it is perceived and projected as something threatening. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. It's perceived and projected as something threatening. Now, I've had several people come on my podcast, if you will, or in my telephone conference call, and in the places where I meet, the meeting places that I've had several people come on with hidden agendas to further their careers, to further their platforms, and all different things. I mean, I've faced so many different adverse situations, and now that I'm being broadcast, on YouTube for everybody to hear and see, there's no discounting what I'm saying anymore, because I know exactly what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because it's time for somebody to speak up and stand up with some guts and some balls, literally. And the truth be told is that you would not have Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, and all the different religious factions that call themselves Christians. You wouldn't have these people if not built upon the base, simple action of fear. Fear has caused and fueled the strength of denominationalism. These people have created their religious standpoint of view on the backs of the Afrocentric culture by locking them up in mental chains and physical chains and causing us to be afraid to speak out and speak truth to power. Oh, somebody don't like me today. But we are no longer afraid of your tactics. We are no longer afraid of your middleman circumstances, because we are now preaching and teaching a true gospel, a very touchable gospel. This ain't gonna win me no fans, but it will win some people with truth, because I have taken personal attacks from disgruntled people that are mad at me because I won't do their bidding and won't bend their way. I've had several people in my camp that have told me to stop, conforming and stop listening to what other people have to say. And guess what? It's finally worked, because now I am just as raw as they come and just as real as they come. And if you listen, you listen. You don't, you don't. I just had to start off like that. I had to let you guys know where I stand when it comes down to these circumstances and situations, because you're not dealing with someone of amateur prowess. You're dealing with somebody of prominent prowess with an intelligence level that probably reaches beyond the normal human understanding. Now, with that being said, for all of you today, we're going to be going into the book of Jubilees. We're going to be going into the book of Jubilees today. And the book of Jubilees is the history of the division of the days of the Torah and the testimony of the events of the years of their weeks, or what we call year, of their Jubilees throughout all the years of the world, as Yahuwah spoke to Moshe on Mount Carmel when he went up to receive the sapphires of the Torah and of the commandments. Hello, somebody. Of the commandment according to the voice of Elohim. And he said unto him, go up to the top of the mount. That is what the book of Jubilees, or as we say in the English, the book of Jubilees. That's what it's all about. This is what makes this particular book a pillar in our culture and a pillar in our spiritual journey and walk. And we're about to embark upon that here on our particular show here on YouTube and Zoom, so that we can all come to a common understanding as to what the Sefer or Sefer of Jubileum, which is called the Book of Jubilees, what it is and what it is to us. The Book of Jubilees is also known as the Little Genesis. It's also known as the Little Genesis. So that means that it is another part of Genesis, just the part of Genesis that comes to where Moshe led the children of Israel out of bondage in Kemet or Mystrium, as some translators have placed it, Mystrium or Kemet. We have transliterated or translated the words Kemet and Mystrium into the word Egypt. So there was no such word as Egypt during that time. It was either Kemet or Mystrium. It was either Kemet or Mystrium, but we now today have recognized that as Egypt. Now you have to understand that Egypt, as you know it, or Kemet, Mystrium, are and were the descendants and kinfolk to the Cush family. Okay, so they were black people. These were people of Afrocentric design. They were not of European base, as some of the movies have alluded and pushed us into believing. They were not European base. They were not pale skin. They had brown skin, bronze skin, if you will, and they came from Cush, who are all brown skin, bronze people. So let's get that myth out of the way already. The movies that have been produced, the productions that have been produced and have shown European pale faces are errors. They are errors because that's not the depiction of the true Kimite, Mystrium people. That is not the true depiction of them. Okay. The true depiction of them are brown and bronze people. You will never hear me say black and brown ever again, because black is not a color. Black is not a color. We are either brown or we're bronze. Hello, somebody, because black is not a color. I say again that you will never hear me use the terminology black and brown. Now, these are some things that we're learning along the way so that we can identify ourselves and our true identity spiritually and physically. And I believe that we should be proud of our prowess and of ourselves spiritually and physically, so that we can show the world the truth of who we are and then the God conscious that we walk in. Hello, somebody. The God conscious that we actually walk in. I didn't hesitate in what I said. A lot of people don't realize that we are actually, walking in a God conscious that puts us in the validity, because we are the image of the Creator Yahuwah. And being that we are the image of the Creator Yahuwah, there are certain privileges that we, in a spiritual sense, through the lineage and through the propagation of decrement, are entitled to. Hello, somebody. But you can only be entitled to this kind of thing when you're awakened. There are a lot of people that are not awakened to the truth of their identity. So thus their spirituality is very closed-minded because they still believe in a fantasy, in a dream of a world that is mixed. When the world was not mixed, it was centered, it was cultured. Oh, y'all don't like what I'm saying to you. But the world was cultured, it was centered. And we've got to come back to that. And I believe that a lot of people come to me, they come to Dr. Kiefer because they want to learn the things that they have not learned. So we're going to get rid of some of these spiritual myths and um, these things that are going to excite y'all on the church level, because we're not here to excite you on a church level. We're here to give you the truth of the one and true living Elohim. And when you get the understanding of the one and true living Elohim, then you will see that we have been deceived into believing a westernized European gospel. Hello, somebody. Not a true and living Hebraic prophetic gospel, but a European gospel that has downplayed and disregarded and disrespected the people of its writing. Okay, they have literally taken black people, Afrocentric people, out of the inscriptions of writing, and got us thinking that we are third world people. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying to you. Got us thinking that we are third world people. We're not even second class. We're first class. We're first class. And if we're first class, we need to come to the understanding. Let's get into the book of Jubilees, the very first chapter. I know that what I'm saying is a bombshell to a lot of people. It may turn you on or it may turn you off, but I'm not here to appease to you about what turns you on and what turns you off. What I am here to do is to give you pure consciousness and understanding of truth, to bring out things that should have been brought out to you, but because of the diabolical plan of man to shut off the true people of the Bible, he won't tell us nothing. We're in the book of Jubilees, Jubileum, which is known as Little Genesis. We want to start at verse number 1 of chapter number 1. And let me start. Verse number 1 of chapter number 1. And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Mistrium. There go that word, which we translate today as Egypt. Out of Mistrium, in the third month of the 16th day of the month, that Elohim spoke to Moshe, saying, come up to me on the mount, and I will give you two sapphire stones of the Torah and of the commandment which I have written, that you may teach them. Come on, somebody. First of all, Elohim has summoned Moshe to the mount. And because he has summoned Moshe to the mount, he is giving Moshe his laws and his statutes, the things in which we are to go by as true Hebrews to understand the mindset of our Elohim. Verse number 3, and Moshe went up to the mount of Elohim, and the glory of Yahuwah abode on the Mount Sinai. Come on, somebody, on the Mount Sinai. And excuse me. And a cloud overshadowed it for 6 days. This is the production of creation, 6 days of work, and then the 1 day of convocation or worship, in which we call the seventh day, which the seventh day is the Sabbath. Hello, somebody, which in our understanding started last night, on yesterday evening, Friday evening until Saturday evening. That's the completion of 12 hours. That's the rotation of what the true Sabbath is. Some people look at the Sabbath as a day, but we look at the Sabbath for what Scripture says, for what the Torah says, which is a rotation of from hours to hours, 12-hour rotation. Verse number 4. And he called to Moshe on the seventh day out of the out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance of the glory of Yahuwah was like a flaming fire on the top of the mount. Like a flaming fire on top of the mount. Yahuwah had made his presence known to Moshe. Yahuwah was letting him know that my glory and my grace is sufficient. We see in I think it's in 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, where the Apostle Paul speaks to us indirectly about the thorn in the flesh. And this thorn in the flesh, he lets us know that this was another way of Yahuwah allowing Shihal to understand that the grace of Yahuwah is sufficient for us to understand. In the midst of our weakest points, we have become strong because we have released ourselves to a God of understanding that understands us bar none. Bar none. Hello, somebody. So there is no one greater than our Elohim. There is nobody that has a better understanding of the makeup of us because we were created in his image. We have a God-like conscience. That's what he's trying to get us to understand today, that we have a God-like conscience. We are an Elohai, an Elohai. We are not an Elohim, because the Elohim is the completeness of the Father, the Son, and the set-apart Spirit that is holy. So we connect to Elohim with the mind of Elohai. In other words, a God-like conscience. Hello, somebody. A God-like conscience. Verse number 5. And Moshe was on the mount 40 days and 40 nights. And Elohim taught him the earlier and latter history of the division of all the days of the Torah and of the testimony. See, now this goes against what some people trying to get as an understanding as to when Moses left the children of Yisrael in the wilderness, and they made it seem like it was, what, weeks? But according to this, it could have been maybe a year or two, because Moses was being taught, and he was being taught of the latter history of the division of all the days of the Torah. That's a lot of time, because not only was he given the inscriptions of what we now call the 10 Commandments, but he was given the inscriptions of the history of his law, the history of his instruction. Verse number 6, and he said, incline your heart to every word which I shall speak to you on this mount, and write them in a sefer, in order that their generations may see how I have not forsaken them for all the evil which they have wrought in transgression. The covenant which I established between me and you for generations this day on Mount Sinai. Lets us know the history. It lets us know that Yahuwah wanted to connect with his creation. He used Moshe to connect with his creation. Let me talk about that for a minute. Yahuwah is not in the business of cutting himself off from his creation, but because he is a divine being, and because his presence is so awesome, he has to use mediums, if you will, to bring us to understanding. He has to use mediums to bring us to his understanding, because no man knows the mind of Elohim. No man. And because no man understands or knows the mind of Elohim, the comprehension of his power is so great that we have to use, he has to use, if you will, earthen vessels. In this day and time, I would say he's using teachers to break down his will, to break down his power, to bring the presence of his people back to prominence. Oh, I could go real deep with you and explain to you how our people lost the prominence. We lost the prominence because of our disobedience. And now that we have suffered through thousands of years of suffering, thousands of years of suffering, thousands of years of misunderstandings, now Elohim, the Most High, is bringing us back to the oneness of our identification. We are now finding out who we are. And in the book of Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, we are finding out the history, the one accordness that was revealed to the prophet Moshe, to the completion of our identity. Oh, somebody don't like what I'm talking about. We were born in a godlike nature, in Elohai. We were born with the mind of Elohai in a singularity, because the human mind does not have the ability on its own in the natural sense to comprehend the singleness of Elohai, of the great God that we serve. Hello, somebody. So in the singularity of that, he had to break things down in simple form so that we could not be caught up into the confusion of what certain people say. Y'all don't like me up in here. The simple form of what he's saying is really simple, in my opinion, because what he's telling us is that I created you, and I created you for a purpose. And I'm regulating you, but I'm sending a representative to regulate you in totality, in simplicity. Hello, somebody. Verse number 7. And thus it will come to pass, when all these things came upon them, that they will recognize that I am more righteous than they in all their judgments and in all their actions, and they will recognize that I have been truly with them. Yeah, we got some people that think they're more righteous than Elohim. They think that they are an Elohai. They think themselves of a singular God themselves in that seclusion. The type of God that he has given you, the type of God-like mindset that he has given you access to, does not surpass that of his own. It does not surpass his understanding. I need somebody to understand that we are just being used for the presence and for the purpose of Elohim. We're just being used for that. We are not the focal point of his mission. Even though we're being used to carry out his mission, we are not the focal point. We're not the focal point of the mission. I need somebody to get that. I need somebody to understand that. Verse number 8. And do you write for yourself these words which I declare unto you this day. For I know their rebellion and their stiff neck, before I bring them into the land in which I swore to their fathers, to Abraham and to Yitzchak and to Yaakov, saying, unto your seed will I give a land flowing with milk and honey. That's a very profound statement in verse number 8. In other words, Yahuwah is telling Moshe, he said, I know that we're dealing with a stiff-necked people, a people that have been polluted with the understandings of their oppressor. Oh, come on, somebody. So I've got to cleanse them from the poison that has sent them into bondage. I've got to cleanse them from the poison that has sent them into bondage. And the only way that I can do that is I have to infiltrate and cleanse their minds from slavery to divinity, from slavery into divinity. I know this might be a little bit deep for somebody, but the truth of the matter is that he's trying to get our mindset beyond the simpleness of pettiness that we have accustomed ourselves to. The pettiness that we have become accustomed to has taken us away from the divine nature that we were born into. Hello, somebody. The divine nature that he's trying to bring us back to, so that we can understand our priestly role. At one time, every nation was coming to us for wisdom. Oh, come on, somebody. Y'all don't like what I'm saying. At one time, every nation was coming to us for wisdom. They have robbed us of our wisdom through intimidation. You are not slow. You are not dumb. You are not you are not insignificant, people. You are very important. You are very much on the mind of Yahuwah, because you are the fabric of his message. It is the creation that carries the message. So we, in a sense, all are messengers and carrying his message. Verse number 9, and they will eat and be satisfied, and they will turn to strange Elohim, to Elohim which cannot deliver them from aught of their tribulation, and their witness shall be heard for a witness against them. Now, for those of you that want to follow other religions, other cultic practices, there is none greater than the Elohim of Israel. There is none greater than the understanding of the creation of the world, which is through our Elohim. There are going to be other gods. That's what that means, Elohims. There will be other gods, there are other practices that will try to substitute themselves into the mindset of Yahuwah. But greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. Greater is the understanding of our Elohim. We are in the book of Jubilees. We are in the book of Jubilees that gives us the understanding and the history and the backtrack of our victory that is yet to come. I prophesy to those that are awakened today that victory is right around the corner. If you're not awakened, that you shall be awakened in this hour. And the victory that shall come to us shall be a victory of great pleasure. We shall walk as an Elohai with the God conscious and the mindset of superior things of spirituality. The petty things of this world will no longer take precedent over us, because we are now coming into the understanding of something greater than us, something that was laid for us. Some people look at laws and commands as something of displeasure. But for those of the lineage and the spiritual fortitude of the Elohim of Yisrael, we understand that this is a defining and shining moment of the greatest thing that we could ever come into. We now have the mindset of Elohai, the God conscious, if you will. I want people to understand that this God conscious, this Elohai, this prophetic moment in time is bringing us into the ultimate understanding of our own identity. Oh, hallelujah. I don't know about you, but I'm getting excited thinking about the elevation of the mindset, the computation of moving into another level of a God conscience. It excites me to think about that. It excites me to even bring the presence of this into play. Now is the appointed time. I hear the spirit of Elohim. Now is the appointed time to take yourself higher. This process will win people and lose people. This process will show dedication and make application. This process will show us, in other words, who's real and who's still. In other words, hallelujah. We are getting started with this study in the book of Jubilees. And today we're going to leave off on that 9th verse. We're going to start at verse number 10 when we come back next week. But we want to start off here in the book of Jubilees. I wanted to really dramatize things so that you will understand the ever so importance of the spiritual beings that we're dealing with the educational level that we are now going to. This ain't something that you just come up with a revelation about like some of y'all do. Some of you guys have this false sense of prophetic entitlement. But see, you got to go back and learn your history. You got to learn the basics and understand the godlike conscience that he's trying to bring you into. Oh, hello, somebody. To bring us into that mindset, excuse me, means the forgetting of what has poisoned us. And now we're being cleansed spiritually so that we can have the openness of the godlike conscience. Hello, somebody. Elohai, Elohai. We are walking in the godlike conscience. So that means that our thinking, our teaching, and our revelation has been elevated in this hour. It has been elevated. Oh, somebody don't understand what I'm saying to you. What I'm saying to you is that your petty prophecies mean nothing. Elohai, Elohim, is not interested in your personal prophecies. He's not interested in your personal endeavors of elevation. What he is interested in is someone that can carry his glory and lead us into the presence of his kingdom. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get us to think outside the box. We are so far in the lines and in the realm of religion that we don't even realize that the true culture of esteem has been lost thanks to religion. And now when you add political systems into the religious ways, you have conformed into a diabolical system of witchcraft. The system that we are dealing with in this world system is a system of witchcraft that is preparing itself for the beast empire. It's preparing itself for the beast empire. And it's preparing itself for the takeover of the mind of the world. Who am I talking to today? You have to understand that the world events are happening because we have forgotten where we come from. We have forgotten the point on which Elohim wants us to understand that we must know to unlock the keys of a godlike conscience, to unlock the keys to our prophetic purpose. Oh, come on, somebody. The prophetic purpose which leads us into answers. Those answers are given to us in the feast of Yahuwah. Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, Pentecost, Shavuot. Come on, somebody. These lead us into prophetic answers. That is why we cannot shun these things. We must elevate them now that we understand our godlike conscience, our Elohai, so that we can get the power to fight the enemy. The power to fight the adversary only comes through the understanding of truth. The understanding of truth. Something that we have not had in such a long time. We have not had that. But now We are coming in our God-like presence in our mind to understand. He is opening up the portals of understanding so that we can think as Elohai. We can elevate our mindset into his presence so that we can see his face. Just as Moshe saw him on the mountain. Come on, somebody, in Mount Sinai. He saw him because his mindset was open and he was in the presence of Elohai. He was in the presence in his mindset. He was in the presence. He was walking in the God-like character, the God-like conscience. He was in Elohai. He was only allowed the glory. He was allowed the presence because the flesh has been poisoned. The flesh has been polluted. The flesh has no understanding of his true presence. Evidence of that is because we're stepping into the world in the bounds of religion. We cannot step into the world in the bounds of religion and understand the Elohim, because he is so far removed from the bounds of our religion that he has created his own space, and his own space is called spirituality. His own space. That space being spirituality now is the focus and central point of our future endeavor, the future endeavor being the kingdom. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Come on, somebody. Do you understand the elevation that he's trying to take you to? Do you understand the conscience that he's trying to relevate you to? Do you understand the reality of that? This is not about looking for your buddies and partnering with people because they're friends of yours. See, some of you people in the Afro culture, y'all bad for that. You partner up with people because they look like you. Partner up with somebody because they look like Elohim, because they talk like Yahusha, because they walk in the presence of him. Hello, somebody. Not because they look like you and they say these little ghetto fabulous things that you guys are used to. I rebuke your ghetto fabulous phrases and your ghetto fabulous ways, because all this stuff has brought us into an embarrassing low. We're lower than low because we have taken on the language of our oppressors. And along with taking on the language of our oppressors, we're starting to talk like them. We've become their sideshow. We're their jigaboo, if you will. I refuse to be somebody's jigaboo. If anything, I want to be your intellectual consortium. Being your intellectual consortium, words that come to me don't come from someone's book, but they come from the nature of my God-like conscience. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. The Elohai has infiltrated my system, and now I'm speaking in a language that can only be understood in the heavens. I know that's a little deep for some of y'all, but it's time for y'all to come into the deep. Deep reaches out to the deep. That's one of the reasons that we've been stupid all this time. We've been watching and listening, and we've been coordinating ourselves into an adverse language, and we speak ebonics and we speak lingo and slang. No, we want to be able to speak direct. Oh, I'm speaking some real truth right now. We want to be able to speak direct with a God-like conscience. The book of Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, is going to take us through a history and through a timetable, if you will, to show us where it began with the language, and where it began with the laws, where it began with the instruction, and how Moshe was taken and taught history. You cannot get anywhere without history. You cannot get an understanding without history. You cannot even you cannot even scratch the surface of the mindset of an Elohai without history. Without history. Oh, yes, we're talking some deep stuff today. We're coming with some real things, but my time has come to a screeching halt because we never want to have these meetings exceeding the hour realm or beyond the minute realm of understanding of the understanding capacity of the human mind. And as we continue to go through the book of Yodelim to the book of Jubilees, the understanding level will increase. Right now, Father, Yahuwah, I come to you and I say to you, Father, give the people the mindset, the understanding of your word. Give them the understanding of your God-like conscience, the setting of our minds so that we can be deposited this prophetic understanding so that we can give an application of spiritual proportion, that you will walk with us and talk with us so that we can not only represent you, but show the nature of you. We are ready to do this, and we are ready to walk in the design that you have set up. We're coming outside of the box, Father. And today and on every Sabbath, we want to take it higher in the realm of the spirit. We want to take it higher in the realm of the understanding. We want to take it higher in the realm that you want us to be in. For it is so that you have deemed us your representative. We are created in your image. So, Father, give us your conscience. Since that we are created in your image, we want your conscience. We want to walk in Elohai. We want to walk in Elohai and understand your meanings. We want to understand your meanings. Take us higher, Father. Take us out of our comfortable positions. Take us out of our zone of misunderstanding and bring us back to the understanding of your power, the understanding of your covenant, the understanding of our purpose. These are the things that we reach for because we are living in a time when you are about to reveal, you're about to show us your kingdom. So let your kingdom come, let your will be done on this earth realm as it is in the heavens. And let us walk in the completion of the totality of your understanding. Father, change our language, change our mindset. Take us to where you want us to. Take us to the intended place that you have put us in, that you had started from the beginning of time into now. These things and more we ask in the mighty name of Yahushua HaMashiach, ruler of the universe. We say amen, amen. I bless you this evening. Listen, you can, the messages and the power impartation that the Most High has given to me to give to you is not something that can be bought with money or swayed into through influence, but yet the work of ministry is not a free operation. So we want you to donate to our work by going to the Cash App. When you go to the Cash App, you type in the $ and type in Chief Apostle Kepha. Chief Apostle Kepha. Kepha is spelled Kepha. Kepha. Or you can go to PayPal. PayPal.me. PayPal.me / capital K, capital I, SREAL. Please consider giving to our work. We don't have any gimmicks. We don't have any extra things that we give. We're not a rich ministry, so we don't have T-shirts and DVDs and flask of oil and so on like that. All we have is what you're hearing, which is the evidence of truth and the explanation of the spirit and the computation of the impartation of the prophetic nature of our Elohim. So please prayerfully consider donating into our purpose. If you would like to pay tithes with us, we know that you are sowing into good ground, good and fertile ground that it's about to take you to the next level. We are in the book of Jubilees starting in this month of January 2021. We're going to go all the way through the book of Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, and we're going to connect the entire time the prophetic purpose and the design for our life. We have already come to the point and understanding of the God-like nature, which is a God conscience. He is trying to take us to another level in the God conscience. So we understand that. So get ready, buckle your seats for the next few days in this ride, in this journey of understanding that we have come to. Let somebody know that Dr. Kiefer Ben Israel is imparting spiritual and celestial wisdom into your God-like conscience. And we are walking into the presence of Elohim in this hour. I say Shabbat Shalom to you and peace and blessings to everybody else. Join us next week as we come back with another teaching. Shalom to everyone.